Hi, so for this month I want to talk about what's happening in the property market through a finance lens. And a lot of the news and media that we're seeing, there's a lot of stuff out there that's being told by real estate agents, and I guess they're from a selling point of view. And what we wanted to do is talk about what it is for our clients who are buying. Now we're going to focus this month a lot on buying because we're seeing that that's more sort of relevant at the moment, and it's at the moment it's quite emotional for many people. So it definitely is a seller's market. There's been demand is driven by a number of factors that have sort of all come together in a perfect kind of situation, or perfect storm, as you might say. So the first thing is there's been a lot of fiscal, what the economists refer to as fiscal stimulation of the economy. So you've got like the home builder grants, you've got like JobKeeper in the economy, but a lot of things like that which are pushing money through the economy. But on the other side as well, you've also got the monetary policy, which is a reduction in interest rates. So because there was a softening forecast in the economy, interest rates fell through the second half of last year. And then you've also got a number of factors that are sort of relating to Australia, all right? So you've got the internal migration, so you've got people coming from Sydney and Melbourne, where those markets are probably a much more expensive property market, so they're moving interstate, all right, and out into regional areas. And you've also got people who are moving back from overseas, all right? So there's been, we've had a few inquiries ourselves from people who are, were based in London or in America. They've sold up their property over in a major city over there, and they've decided to move back to Australia. And those people typically have quite a lot of cash saved up, all right? So they've got quite a lot of equity there, and their, how would I put it, their view of Australia is that, they can buy a lot more for their money here when they come to Australia. So they're converting, like the Australian dollar has increased a little bit of late, but up until then, they were converting, they had a lot of cash, and they can use that to buy. All right, so let's see, a lot of that demand is sort of focused in areas, all right? So it's focused in established homes, and it's also focused on buying land and then building, okay? So with the grants. It's less so units at the moment from what we can tell, and it's less so for investment properties as well. Some investment properties are selling quite quickly because people are buying them because interest rates are low, but it's probably not quite as emotional as it is for the people who are buying first home buyers, etc. All right. Now, it's very much a quick market, all right? So what do I mean by that? So the turnaround times, people are making a decision quickly. They're going to an open for inspection or an open home, and there's lots and lots of people. And so because they've got strong drivers as to why they want to buy a house, they're feeling that, oh no, if I don't do something, look at all these people that are coming here as well, I need to make a decision now. So if you're a person who might take your time and you want to talk to a number of people about doing it, you might find that you miss out. And so you need to have done as much, you need to get as ready, in our opinion, for this as possible, because you don't want to be, thinking that this is an ideal house, and then come Monday, when you call the agent to make an offer, they've said, oh, it's already sold, on Saturday night, for example. So let's talk about some things for that you can do, all right? So the thing with that is really do your research. So research is always really important, but especially in a period where stuff is selling quickly, research is even more important, because you want to be making a quick decision if it's a property that you really like, all right? There is less stock available, and so if something comes up that fits within what you want at the right price, you need to make a decision now, in my opinion, all right? If you're waiting, you could miss out. The second thing is potentially go broader. So you might have an ideal house that you wanted to do, but if you've got a situation where you really need to have done something by a certain time, have a look at a range of other properties. Look at properties that might be a little bit smaller, for example. Look at properties that might not have a pool, but you can add a pool later. Look at properties that might be a little bit further away from the schools that you'd like to go with, etc. All right, and be an option that. And the last thing is have a shorter finance period with potentially 7 days by doing a pre-approval. So you go through the bulk of the finance stuff, and then you go back, and then you can make a shorter finance offer, and that allows you to compete with other people who have got cash offers, or they're from overseas and they've got more money, etc. All right. Now, what we're seeing as well is if you have a look on realestate.com.au and Domain, you're seeing a lot of houses where the prices are, it's not quite so sure as to how much the house is for sale for, right? So what do I mean by that? It could be an auction. It could be where they're saying, look, we're open for an expression of interest, where it's a tender, which is basically a blind auction, where there's no price guide, where it says contact the agent and we'll tell you what it is, etc. All right. Now, why are agents and why is that happening? Well, in a market where agents feel like the prices are moving, they don't want to get tied down and they want to obviously try and maximize the price for their seller. So what they do is they try and leave that pricing amount as fuzzy as possible in the hope that they might get someone who's moving, from example, from overseas, doesn't know the market and pays 10, 20% higher than what it would if someone was a local buyer, so to speak. No prices range can also be pushing towards the auctions, as we spoke about. Now, what I've noticed of late is that traditionally a lot of people in Queensland who were going to auction, a lot of house prices that were being auctioned, sort of like in the higher price range, all right? So it's more of someone who's bought their second or third property. Those were the properties that were going to auction. What we're finding now is you're seeing that a lot of auctions are for first home buyer houses. So those houses that are probably under the 600, 650 price range, all right, that are going to auction. Now, first auctions do not suit first home buyers at all right? Because when you buy at auction, you're buying unconditionally. So if the valuation doesn't stack up or if you have a problem with the financing getting it approved, all of a sudden you're in a really bad situation. So what's happening though is a number of our clients who have seen houses that they like for going to auction, the houses went to auction and then the house didn't actually sell at auction, so they were able to make an offer after the auction, all right, and then pick up the house for the same price that they were prepared to buy before the auction. All right, so keep in contact with the agent. Don't necessarily expect them to call you back because agents at the moment are busy and they're always, getting lots of phone calls and that kind of stuff. But just keep in contact with the agent, have a talk to them and be there to pick it up or make an offer if it hasn't sold at auction. All right, so we hope that that's really helpful. If you want to talk about it, because like I said, it is a very emotional time for a lot of people. There's a lot in the media that's written about FOMO and fear of missing out and all that kind of stuff. I personally do not see that. I think that is it makes for good headlines. But what I'm seeing is that it's just more that people are wanting to do the same things that they always want to do, all right? And it's just the fact that it's a busier market and there's less properties for sale, which is pushing them into this situation where there's a lot more people that open for inspections, all right? So what do I mean by that? So people are looking at, they might be looking at moving from a townhouse to a home, all right? They might be looking at getting a bigger house because their kids are growing up. They might be looking at moving suburbs because they want their kids to get into a certain school. They might be wanting to downgrade and sell their bigger house and move into a small house. It's the same thing as always happens, all right? But when there's less people and when they've got to do it by a certain time frame and they've found someone who wants to buy their house and they've got to try and buy one themselves, it's a tough situation because the market's like that. So if we can help at all, let us know and talk to you soon.